All right, now to an update on one of our biggest stories heading into the new year. The Department of Health and Human Services is cutting off all federal child care payments to Minnesota. This in response to allegations of sweeping fraud. And the White House says there will be consequences.
This is a top priority for the administration. The Department of Justice, as we speak, is continuing to execute search warrants and subpoenas. People will be in handcuffs as a result of the fraud that Governor Walz has allowed to occur for many, many years.
Well, a YouTuber who made a viral video on the scandal was seen squaring off with protesters outside of a daycare center. We have Garrett Tenney. He has more on all of this from Chicago. Good morning, Garrett.
Molly, good morning to you. This is a big move by HHS. It adds to the several other federal agencies that have already paused funding for Minnesota over those concerns of fraud. So now the $185 million a year that HHS provides the state for childcare is on hold. And starting immediately, the agency says the rubber stamping of payments through its administration for children and families is over. Every payment will now require a justification and a receipt or photo evidence before a state can receive that funding. The ACF Assistant Secretary says the pause on funding is necessary until we know how rampant the fraud in the child care space really is.
Any dollar stolen by fraudsters is stolen from those children. Yesterday, I spoke directly with the director of the Minnesota Child Care Services Office. She could not tell me with confidence whether those allegations of fraud are isolated or whether there's fraud stretching statewide.
HHS is also setting up a nationwide hotline for folks to report suspected fraud in the child care space wherever they are. And the agency is also demanding Minnesota Governor Tim Walz turn over detailed records on the daycare centers highlighted in Nick Shirley's viral video. Yesterday, the YouTuber was back outside the Quality Learning Center, where he was confronted by a small group that was not happy about what he's doing there.
You're not going to believe what's in there. This was all day yesterday. Hundreds of cars lined up along Cedar Avenue, honking, screaming, swearing, threatening us.
It's crazy what's happening here in Minnesota. People work way too hard for billions of dollars, whether it's a Republican doing the fraud or a Democrat doing the fraud. Fraud is fraud, so we should hold each and every single person accountable for it.
And you'll remember the sign of the Quality Learning Center that had misspelled learning a few days ago. Well, that sign is now fixed. As federal officials say, hundreds of investigators from the FBI, DHS, and ICE are now digging into all of the fraud schemes that have allegedly been taking place in Minnesota now for years. Molly?
Yeah, a lot of questions to come. Systemic issues at hand. I wonder who paid to fix the sign. Garrett, thank you very much. Garrett Tenney, we appreciate it. Mike?
Molly, let's bring in Hugh Hewitt, Fox News contributor. Hugh, good morning.
Hey, Mike, good morning.
I'd like to start with a clip from Tricia McLaughlin from Homeland Security, and then I'll get your take on this scandal.
Our Homeland Security investigators, hundreds are on the ground. They're knocking doors. They're going to local businesses. They're going to these sites where we believe that there is rampant fraud. Our Homeland Security investigators on the ground are also seeing that these suspected perpetrators are really trying to cover their tracks. They're trying to whitewash the operational facts on the ground, purporting to be a legitimate business, have legitimate business operations, when it's all a fugazi.
What's your assessment at this point, Hugh?
Well, Mike, it is sort of like octopuses wrestling. It began in 2021. It picked up a lot of speed late last year when 78 people were indicted, 52 were convicted. Scott Johnson over at Powerline has been covering this for a few years, but now it's ramped up even more because of the Nick Shirley YouTube video and Director Patel of the FBI surging these resources as well as DHS into Minnesota. It is alleged by First Assistant United States Attorney Joe Thompson, who's a career federal prosecutor, that of the $18 billion that flowed into Minnesota over the past 7 years, more than half is probably gone into fraud. So $9 billion, 9B with $1 billion is missing. So that will require an extraordinary forensic accounting and a great deal of investigation into finding out where it went. But I think we're going to find it's centered in the Somali community of about 80,000 people in Minnesota. Half of them are American citizens. Most of them are naturalized American citizens of the remainers. So it's going to go on for years, but the political fallout is hitting Tim Walz very heavily as demands for his resignation grow and his reelection campaign is in danger.
His strategy is puzzling. Tim Walz keeps blaming President Trump. Let's put that on the screen. Quote, "This is Trump's long game. We've spent years cracking down on fraudsters. It's a serious issue, but this has been his plan all along." He's politicizing the issue to defund programs that help Minnesotans. Is that deflection 101? Blame the president?
That is, and I put it on my radio show the other day, Mike. Governor Walz has had about 24 different excuses, and I've said it on the program before. Not my dog, it didn't bite you, besides you kicked him first. Mm-hmm. What is amazing to me is that Eric Holder did the vetting of Mike Walz for Kamala Harris, and he never brought this up, and it's been hiding in plain sight. It took a YouTube video to get to 100 million people, and Eric Holder couldn't find, when he was supposed to be finding the person who should be next in line to the presidency. It's really quite astonishing.
And then there's Ilhan Omar, Congresswoman, who seems to be taking a victory lap on social media, saying, "I'm grateful every day to represent the people of Minnesota's 5th District. I came to Congress on a promise of co-governance, and it's been my honor to work with you all to deliver these wins for Minnesota. Together, we're building a brighter future for our communities." And yet, if she's that plugged into the community, shouldn't she have been sounding the alarm years ago?
Yes, and the whole approach of nothing to see here, keep on moving, there's nothing to discuss, will not work. And by the way, it's not going to stay in Minnesota, Mike. There are fraudsters who are connected to other fraudsters across the United States. Since this is primarily centered in the Somali community thus far in Minnesota, about 80,000 people, I would look to Washington State, Columbus, Ohio, Lewiston, Maine. There are other places where Somali refugees have settled over the last 25 years. And if you've got fraud in one community, expect it to travel. And I expect that the FBI, very, very, very experienced in tracing fraud via wire fraud and mail fraud, will be following every tentacle of the octopus prey that I've been talking about. But it is really mind-boggling, and I would recommend, people want to read in detail, the Powerline bloggers who received the Time Magazine Award for Blog of the Year some decades ago, they're on the case. They're digging deep into it, as is City Journal, as is Fox. It's not going anywhere. And Tim Walz, Ilhan Omar, all the Minnesota DFLers, they won't be able to talk their way out of this. This is really a nightmare scandal.
And I can guarantee you we will stay on the case. Hugh Hewitt, great to see you. Thanks so much.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.
Breaking news on the U.S.-China trade front. The economic standoff is heating up again, with both nations making significant moves that are sending ripples across the globe. Washington just announced a new round of tariffs targeting key Chinese industries, including electric vehicles and advanced technology sectors. This is a clear signal that the pressure is not letting up. In response, Beijing has vowed to take resolute measures to protect its interests, hinting at retaliatory tariffs on American agricultural and energy